Baltimore General, an episodic medical drama. Written by Blue Bolton. Episode 1, Transfer of Care, Chapter 1. Jordan Hall's fingers tapped against his thigh, matching the rhythm of the song flowing through his headphones. The Baltimore City bus jerked through morning traffic, but inside his musical sanctuary, the world outside remained a silent film of strangers with averted gazes. His mother Marla glanced at her watch again, anxiety tightening her features. "We're going to be late for your appointment," she murmured into the space between them, knowing her words wouldn't penetrate his audio bubble. Her eyes traced the strong jawline that had emerged over the past year, the soft shadow of facial hair she'd recently taught him to shave. At 16, her boy's transformation into manhood filled her with conflicting waves of pride and fear. Each visit to the neurodevelopmental clinic seemed to multiply her questions rather than answer them. Jordan's tapping fingers froze mid-beat. "Jordan?" The brush of Marla's fingertips against his arm met rigid muscle. The warm brown of his skin faded to an ashen gray. His eyes widened with an emotion Marla couldn't decipher. "Baby, what's wrong?" She kept her voice hushed, trying to preserve their carefully constructed bubble of calm. His hand flew to his throat. His lips parted, but instead of words, a thin crimson rivulet spilled over his bottom lip. "Oh my God!" Her hands gripped his shoulders. "Jordan!" The woman across the aisle noticed first, her shopping bag tumbling to the floor. "That kid's bleeding." Jordan pitched forward. Blood erupted from his mouth in a violent spray, spattering across the seat ahead of them. Morning sunlight caught the crimson mist, turning it into a horrifying constellation. Screams ricocheted through the bus. A man leapt from his seat, stumbling backward. "What the hell?" "Someone help us!" Marla struggled to keep Jordan upright as tremors began to rack his frame. "Please, my son needs help." The driver's eyes widened in the rearview mirror. "What's going on back there?" An elderly woman jabbed her finger toward them. "That boy is throwing up blood. Stop the bus." The screech of brakes sent an unprepared passenger tumbling into the aisle. Jordan's body convulsed violently. His headphones clattered to the floor, tinny music still pulsing into the chaos. Crimson bubbles formed between his lips, staining his white t-shirt. The whites of his eyes showed as they rolled back. "He's having a seizure." A man in scrubs pushed through the crowded aisle. "I'm a nurse. Give him space." Marla's fingers interlaced with her son's, her voice cracking. "Jordan, baby, stay with me." The nurse knelt in the widening pool of blood. "How long has he been sick?" "He wasn't sick." Marla's words dissolved into sobs. "He was fine. We were just going to his doctor's appointment." Each spasm racked Jordan's body, bringing fresh waves of blood. The nurse's expression darkened as he felt for a pulse. "Call 911, he ordered the driver. "Tell them we have a teenage male with a severe hemorrhage and seizures, possible internal bleeding." The driver's voice crackled over the radio. "Dispatch, I need emergency services at Charles and Fayette. Medical emergency, kids bleeding bad." Passengers pressed against windows, some with phones raised, others with averted eyes. A woman clutched her crucifix, her lips moving in silent prayer. "Everyone back," the nurse commanded. "Give us air." Jordan's convulsions intensified. Blood now cascaded from his nose, painting a macabre mask across his young features. Marla's sleeve came away red as she tried to wipe his face clean. "Please," she begged the air around them. "Please help him." The nurse removed his belt, folding it carefully. "We need to prevent him from biting his tongue. Can you help me turn him on his side?" Together they shifted Jordan's increasingly limp form. His eyelids fluttered, consciousness ebbing and flowing. "Jordan, stay with us," the nurse commanded. "Help is coming." Marla's hands trembled against her son's head. "He's autistic. He doesn't speak. He won't understand what's happening." The nurse nodded, his hands steady as they monitored Jordan's pulse. "Talk to him. He knows your voice." "Jordan, Mama's here," she whispered into his ear. "You're going to be okay. Just hold on." Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder with each passing second. The bus driver flung the doors open, waving frantically at the approaching ambulance. "Over here! Hurry!" Jordan's body suddenly went still. "No, no, no!" Marla's voice broke. "Jordan, baby, wake up!" The nurse pressed his fingers harder against Jordan's neck. "His pulse is dropping. Where's that ambulance?" Paramedics burst onto the bus with equipment in hand. The first responder took in the crimson-splashed seats, the blood pooling on the floor, the unconscious teenager, his mother's tear-streaked face. "What happened?" he asked, dropping beside Jordan. "Sudden onset hemorrhaging followed by seizures," the nurse reported. "No prior symptoms according to Mom. He's nonverbal autistic." The paramedics moved quickly, monitors attached, IV inserted, oxygen mask placed over Jordan's blood-stained face. "BP's 70-40 and dropping," one called out. "Pulse thready. We need to move now." On the stretcher, Jordan's lanky teenage frame looked suddenly small, vulnerable. His favorite blue hoodie, now dark with blood, slipped from one shoulder. Marla clutched his hand as they navigated the bus steps. "I'm coming with you, baby. Mama's right here." Outside, harsh sunlight emphasized the gray pallor of Jordan's skin, the blue tinge beneath blood-stained lips. Onlookers lined the sidewalk, their faces a gallery of horror and fascination. "Give us room," a paramedic shouted, clearing a path. As they loaded the stretcher, Jordan's body arched violently. Fresh blood bubbled beneath the oxygen mask. "He's seizing again," the paramedic called. "Mom, we need to go now." Marla climbed in, her gaze locked on her son's face as the doors slammed shut. "Where are you taking him?" the nurse called through the window. "Baltimore General," the driver answered, activating the siren. "It's the closest trauma center." Inside the speeding ambulance, paramedics worked frantically as Jordan's vitals plummeted on the monitor. "Hang another unit of saline," one ordered, "and call ahead to General. Tell them we've got a teenage male with severe hemorrhaging of unknown origin, possible internal bleeding, multiple seizures, BP crashing." Marla's knuckles whitened around the metal rail as she watched her son's chest struggle with each breath. His headphones remained behind on the bus floor, still playing to an audience of blood and empty seats. "Stay with me, Jordan," she whispered. "Please stay with me." The ambulance screamed through Baltimore's streets, its siren a desperate plea to morning traffic. Inside, Jordan's monitors beeped a countdown rhythm as his life leaked out in crimson rivers, and his mother prayed to a God she wasn't sure was listening.